You mentioned Hidden Road earlier, the
Yeah.
acquisition. I think you spent 1.25 billion on that.
Yes.
Is that an indication that Ripple is going to be more acquisitive going forward now?
Yes.
Good. So we can expect some more M&A to come.
Yes, more exciting things for sure. I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, I think 1.25 billion marks it as one of the largest in crypto history. Being a crypto company, we stand alone as being an owner of a non-bank prime broker. The Hidden Road, like, I'm so bullish on having this tight, like, under one roof partnership at this point between a company that serves like hundreds of the highest volume trading financial institutions with our business, where we can be more of the blockchain tech infrastructure. And for them, I mean, they do $3 trillion annually. Revenue is super healthy, 100 million plus, and they can now get more risk capital using our balance sheet, so they can also grow their business exponentially.
Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. So following Ripple's blockbuster acquisition of Hidden Road Prime Brokerage, Hidden Road received a FINRA broker-dealer license, and this could prove transformative, especially in the context of a dramatically changed U.S. regulatory landscape. The Trump administration's aggressive deregulatory campaign, backed by fresh executive orders that promote open blockchains, dollar-denominated stablecoins, and the tokenization of real-world assets, has swung the pendulum decisively in the favor of crypto innovation. And with former SEC Commissioner Paul Atkins, a market libertarian reformer, elevated to SEC chair and recently sworn in, many of the prior regime's roadblocks are being dismantled as we speak. Ripple is now armed with a broker-dealer license and a suite of strategic acquisitions that can leverage the 2025 environment to dominate the intersection of Wall Street and Web3. The Trump-era pivot from war on crypto to America, the crypto capital, and Ripple's M&A stack, Hidden Road's the prime brokerage, standard custody, came with the New York State Trust Charter, and the private blockchain that's nation-state secure and shards keys into smart HSMs using MPC. And then Medico, the custody tech provider that came with the bank-grade orchestration system Harmonize, is one of the most advanced custody tech on the market. And that, combined with Ripple's issuance platform that they were testing with CBDC pilots for years, and now the launch of RLUSD stablecoin through that custody solution, tokenization, DeFi, and prime brokerage 2.0. Why this FINRA broker-dealer license is the keystone. We could see programmable funds, tokenized private markets, and institutional DeFi pools. With the new SEC leadership, can deploy safe harbors, sandboxes, and modernized custody rules. Ripple is at the top in their arsenal of tech stack, and most importantly, XRP Ledger at the bottom of the stack with its soon-to-launch powerful EVM sidechain built on the Cosmos SDK, integrated with Axelar's 80-plus networks and programmable cross-chain interoperability. Ripple, RLUSD, and even XRP are going to be instruments of the U.S. strategic finance landscape. President Donald J. Trump declared the United States the crypto capital of the planet, and on January 23rd, 2025, signed Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology. This order guarantees Americans' right to self-custody on public blockchains. It champions dollar-backed stablecoins worldwide, USD-denominated, privately issued, backed by U.S. Treasury bills, predominantly and explicitly bans a Federal Reserve-issued CBDC, no surveillance dollar, directs agencies to craft tech-neutral, innovation-first rules, and orders them to go through all regulations and guidelines that could be unconstitutional. And they launched the Presidential Digital Asset Working Group and crypto, led by crypto czar David Sachs, to evaluate the strategic national stockpile and of Bitcoin and other key crypto assets. Agencies were told to end Operation Choke Point style bank pressure and cease regulation by enforcement. And no banking regulators are included in the Digital Asset Working Group. No FDIC, no OCC, and most notably, no Federal Reserve. That's very telling. The White House now sees USD stablecoins as the future of US dollar hegemony and a soft power weapon against the digital yuan and the BRICS, rumored to be gold-backed digital currency. The US government under Trump and his Secretary of Treasury have made a bet on stablecoins. And by betting on stablecoins, they're betting on the crypto market. That is why they hosted a high-level crypto summit at the White House. And we only saw the public first half hour, but there was a multi-hour discussion after that amongst the industry's top leaders, including Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple's strategic arsenal of Hidden Road, Standard Custody and Trust, Medico, RLUSD stablecoin, the XRPL DEX and its AMM, XLS-30D combines an order book and AMM. Liquidity is fused and unified, and the upcoming, overlooked by many, powerful EVM sidechain with Solidity smart contracts using XRP as its native token. Ripple now owns a vertically integrated, compliance-first finance operating system, from token creation to custody, from instant FX to DeFi liquidity. Every component is in-house and US licensed. The power of a FINRA broker-dealer license is the legal on-ramp to America's deepest capital pools, with Ripple's now subsidiary Hidden Road, FINRA's ticket. Ripple can now underwrite or place private and exempt offerings, Reg D, Reg S, and Reg A+. They could operate or participate in an alternative trading system for digital securities. They could earn on spreads, financing fees, and advisory revenue, just like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley do, yet settle trades on-chain in seconds. And they are a CME licensed clearer for futures. And with their custody platform, their clients can post collateral as RLUSD and use that to trade on crypto exchanges, CME futures, issue tokens. They have it end-to-end covered. And they could distribute their own tokenized fund shares or bonds directly to institutions. Ripple can bundle TradFi and DeFi. Ripple's broker-dealer can custody a tokenized treasury note and let that note flow into an AMM for overnight liquidity. And they could use their multi-purpose token standard on the XRP Ledger to encode all the necessary embedded compliance with hard code 12-month lockups and secondary trades clear on Ripple's operated ATS or a permissioned segment of the XRPL DEX. Hence the permissioned DEX amendment with a wallet whitelisting tied to KYC. And we'll see composable programmable funds. And this is something that Ripple can do themselves. And they could trailblaze and create an ecosystem because it's a collaborative effort. And we need the XRP Ledger to be at the forefront of institutional DeFi. That is the holy grail, the golden goose. Bigger than taking over Swift. Much bigger. Simply using XRP in a bridge currency between two fiats does not drive XRP value. It's a misnomer. It helps drive liquidity, but doesn't drive value. This is far bigger because we're developing an on-chain ecosystem built on XRPL's digital network infrastructure and native protocols. On-chain money market fund tokens, treasury-backed auto sweeps yield daily, a basket or index tokens powered by smart contracts, rebalancing 24/7, tradability, micro ticket sizes even. And with smart contracts in development right now, looking to go live at the end of the year in WASM virtual machines. First, we'll get smart escrow and smart extensions, and then we'll get the smart contract capabilities. So by 2026, the XRP Ledger will be loaded with multiple amendments, enhancing its capability, compliance, ability to be that institutional decentralized finance network that nobody else can match, private nor public. And we could see yield plus structured notes. We could see a mix of treasuries, XRP staking to secure services or secure sidechains, mixed with short-dated credit. Payout logic lives in Solidity smart contracts on the EVM sidechain, as the interoperability there is seamless. And because Ripple is both a qualified custodian through standard custody and a trust charter and a broker-dealer, it can issue, hold, trade, and finance these instruments end to end. This puts them at the level of Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, but also all the capabilities of the top crypto native prime brokerages and tokenization platforms. So they are the behemoth. They are the top dog. And this is Prime Brokerage 2.0, real-time collateral mobility. And with the Trump administration and Treasury Secretary putting the Treasury at the helm, leading the deregulation of banking and opening up, likely, OCC charters, standard custody, as the New York State Trust Charter could well be on its way to becoming a nationally chartered bank as well in the future. So real-time collateral mobility means a hedge fund client can pledge tokenized treasuries at standard custody, and then Hidden Road converts them to RLUSD and puts margins CME Bitcoin futures instantly. Weekend liquidity, swap XRP to RLUSD on an XRPL DEX, post RLUSD to an Aave pool, which was just announced. Borrow USDC for arbitrage, no banker required. Settlement risk collapse from T+2 to T+0 via XRPL's atomic delivery versus payment. capabilities, and that's just scratching the surface. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Strategic alignment with U.S. policy. Now, this is super important to understand the policy objectives of the Trump administration. I'll tell you one thing that it's not. It's not gold. The Treasury Secretary flat out said he will not revalue the gold.
The other day when the Sovereign Wealth Fund was announced, President Trump surprised me in the Oval and said, "Could you make a few remarks?" And I said, "Well, we're going to mobilize the asset side of the balance sheet." And all the gold bugs said he's going to revalue the gold. Yeah. I can say today we're not revaluing the gold. Yeah. But what we are going to do is Doug Burgum at Interior, every other department head is looking for the assets that we can mobilize.
Yeah. Is there anyone talking about that or some reset? They bet on crypto and stablecoins. That's the bet. They need demand for treasury bills. They're hosting crypto summits, having crypto balls the night before the inauguration. So RLUSD supports digital dollar hegemony, and a liquid U.S. regulated on-chain bond market helps treasury distribution, decentralizing the United States government's debt, and tokenized private markets unlock domestic capital formation, a key plank of this new SEC agenda under Atkins. And Ripple's war chest of $1 billion plus still in cash, and most likely more, and in-house stablecoin give it firepower to make liquidity where none exists, something its rivals cannot easily replicate. Ripple now holds 40 state money transmitter license, a broker-dealer, a New York State trust. They have the XRPL DEX, the AMM, the EVM sidechain, RLUSD, Medico's harmonized orchestration platform, RippleNet, with the payout into 90% of FX corridors. They have hundreds of banks, payment providers, and financial institutions, exchanges, liquidity providers, all running standardized software that they license. That is how they make money. That's why they have $1 billion in the bank, because they are licensing and selling software that all their clients are running to ultimately come on chain, and these institutions to build through a wallet infrastructure that can house any tokenized asset. And they're a category leader now with a vertical integration, a prime brokerage, and a stablecoin issuance. This is unmatched. Institutional DeFi pools and composable private credit. Ripple's broker-dealer sells the lender's tokens, standard custody, safe keeps collateral. The EVM sidechain enforces covenants, interest, and waterfall. Liquidity providers earn TradFi yields without fax machines, transfer agents, or 30-day notice periods. And tokenizing T-bills on the XRP Ledger can elevate the XRPL to the foundation at the heart of the new financial system, as multi-purpose tokens are perfectly designed for auctioning of treasuries. And Ripple's rails can become a national interest asset. The more RLUSD and XRP move, the deeper the moat around dollar supremacy grows. Ripple's FINRA broker-dealer is not a paperwork trophy. It is the ignition key for prime brokerage 2.0 on-chain treasuries and a dollar-backed stablecoin strategy the BIS can't veto, with policy wins at its back and a tech stack running at the speed of block time. Ripple now sits at the confluence of national interest and market demand.
And what's interesting as well is, so if you think of Ripple, our insertion point has been payments. It's still our flagship product. But today, Ripple is much more than kind of like a payments company using crypto in the form of XRP because we do own a custody business. We have core competence in a layer one blockchain that's designed to support institutional grade financial kind of like use cases. And so if you pair all these things together, you end up with a company that's essentially playing a leading role as sort of like this digital asset infrastructure provider to financial services at large, like a holistic sort of one-stop shop to provide simple, secure, and compliant solutions to bring sort of like TradFi on chain.
Hidden Road is the linchpin making CME-grade derivatives accessible in a DeFi-like environment, and this merges the liquidity and credibility of TradFi markets with the programmability and accessibility of crypto markets. The on-chain AMM of the XRPL, with its novel continuous auction mechanism for arbitrage, could attract these players to provide liquidity, especially if incentivized with additional XRP. Firms like IMC, Laser Digital from Mimura, both listed as Hidden Road liquidity providers, likely appreciate a regulated environment Ripple is building. Interesting to note here, Coinbase attempted to go this road 2 years ago and get a broker-dealer license, spin up a prime brokerage, but they got stuffed by the SEC and stifled. They never got their broker-dealer license approved, even though they acquired a company that had a broker-dealer license. They really have not been able to expand their prime brokerage into traditional markets. It's all crypto. And Ripple just completely leaped over Coinbase and now has connected the blockchain of the XRP Ledger to the traditional markets. Coinbase might have a centralized exchange, but it does not have the institutional network and connections that Ripple has. And Base is no XRP Ledger, that's for sure. So they're competitors, but I think we could see some collaboration here to drive more on-chain activity, because like Brad Gonghouse said, all boats rise. Hidden Road's also integrated with 2 big institutional digital asset exchanges. 6 is SDX, and also integrated to Asia Next, which is SBI's Singapore digital asset exchange that trade every digital asset, from security tokens to crypto to NFTs, to you name it. And each exchange that plugs in brings more activity, a virtuous cycle where exchanges, brokers, and XRPL all feed liquidity to each other. For the exchanges, Ripple's ecosystem offers a broader distribution, access to RippleNet clients, and instant finality settlement, reducing counterparty risks. Overall, the synergy between Hidden Road's clientele and Ripple's platform means friction for institutions entering DeFi is greatly reduced, whether it's a bank looking to tokenize assets, or a fund seeking yield, or a trader seeking leverage. They find a ready-made infrastructure in XRPL, and importantly, each of these use cases drives value to XRP and the XRPL network through fees, collateral demand, or network effects. The Hidden Road acquisition is arguably the most underestimated milestone in Ripple's history. What might look just like another M&A deal is in fact a foundational play. It grafts a $3 trillion a year financial artery directly onto the XRP Ledger. The sheer volume and velocity of this $1.25 billion acquisition of Hidden Road handles trillions in notional, millions of trades daily, and dwarfs the current scale of most blockchains. By channeling even a slice of that through the XRPL, Ripple is set to turbocharge XRP's utility. It's a strategic coup that many didn't see coming, effectively leaping years ahead in a race to merge traditional finance with crypto. And as Ripple's leaders hinted, this move isn't about headlines, but about infrastructure. It's the plumbing that could reroute global financial flows through XRP. In the day-to-day grind of crypto news, the significance of a prime broker linking up with their layer 1 ledger can be missed. But make no mistake, this is a defining moment, one that will likely be studied in hindsight as when the Internet of Value truly began to plug into the existing financial system's core. What emerges from this integration is composable, multi-layered ecosystem with XRP at the center. Ripple's expanding stack from RLUSD stablecoin to XRPL sidechains to on-ledger AMMs and lending is like a set of Lego blocks that now includes Hidden Road's credit and brokerage pieces. These pieces snap together. We can compose loans with tokenized treasuries as collateral and compose yield funds that automatically deploy across AMMs and real-world markets. And we can compose derivative products that tie on-chain positions to off-chain exchanges. Each component adds utility to XRP, and XRP becomes the connector, the asset used for fees, for bridging, for staking, for reward distribution. It's the liquidity, it's the denominator for liquidity pools, the base currency for new markets, and even a form of credit support via first loss staking. By designing incentives and protocols carefully, Ripple can ensure that as the usage of this ecosystem grows, demand for XRP grows in tandem, not in a speculative way, but in a fundamentally driven way. The days of simple transactional XRP usage just for cross-border payments are giving way to a regime of XRP as a versatile finance token, powering smart contracts, securing networks, representing value through XRP collateralized stablecoins, and more. The composability means innovations can stack. A small fintech in Singapore might create XRPL-backed invoicing financing DApp on XRPL, plug it into Hidden Road's credit lines, and use RLUSD for payouts, all without reinventing the wheel. This layered utility is how real value accrues. It's time to recognize the XRPL is poised to become the backbone of the Internet of Value, the new foundation of institutional finance, with regulatory clarity and heavyweights like BlackRock, JPM, and Fidelity already dabbling in tokenization. Stage is set. Ripple, armed with Hidden Road, is boldly declaring that the XRPL will not be a sideshow, but the main stage where TradFi and DeFi converge. The vision of an Internet of Value is that money, assets, and credit move as freely as information does today. And what we have described, instant stablecoin settlements of trades, on-chain representation of money markets, decentralized lending, and swaps tied to real markets, is exactly that vision coming to life. The XRPL, with its decades-plus reliability and built for payments efficiency, is uniquely positioned to host this at scale. And now, with the infusion of a prime brokerage, infrastructure, and a broker-dealer license, it gains the final pieces needed to invite every big player in finance to participate. This is a call to action and imagination. The world's value networks are unifying, and XRP Ledger is at the core. We are witnessing the early phases of a transformation, one where decentralized ledgers become as integral to finance as the internet is to communication. Ripple and Hidden Road are lighting the path forward. Those who follow the light, whether banks, fintechs, or developers, will be building on a foundation that can carry trillions. It's no longer just about blockchain adoption. It's about finance itself evolving to a new standard. The internet of value is here, and XRP is its beating heart. It's time to embrace this new foundation of institutional finance, where the old barriers of time, opacity, and siloed liquidity are broken down by the XRPL, a network limited only by the scope of our innovation and the collective will to push finance into its next era. The future is being composed on the XRPL, block by block, vault by vault, pool by pool. And it's a future where value flows like information at the speed of XRP.
So I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.
You